Hi, I'm Julio Barros, and today I'm going to do a quick introduction to MapKit based on a talk I did at 360 iDev in Denver. I'm excited about MapKit because location-based information is one of the things that makes the iPhone such a powerful platform. Before 3.0, we could have maps in our applications, but they would have to be static map images, or they would have to use a web view with JavaScript tricks, or we would have to exit our application and start the Maps application. New in 3.0 is MapKit, where we can embed a map in our application. It uses the Google Map tiles, and the UI is very similar to the map applications on the iPhone, so people are already very familiar with it. Some important classes that we're going to learn about are the MapView, which is a subclass of UIView, MK Annotation Protocol, which we can think of as the data or model for the locations that we'll add to our map, and the MK Annotation View, which is how those points will be displayed on our map. Along with those classes, we'll also look at the MapView Delegate Protocol and the MK Pin Annotation View, which will show us the built-in pin that we are all familiar with. So let's start with the simplest example. MapView is just a view, so we can create it using alloc and init, just like any other view, or you can create it using Interface Builder. I'm going to show you how to do it with Interface Builder. We'll start a new Xcode project, File, New Project. I'm going to make it a view-based application. I'm going to call it BrewMap for reasons that will become obvious shortly. I'm going to open the resources and open the nib, and from the library I'm going to pull out a map view and drag that out. The other thing we need to do for this target is to add the MapKit framework. When we run the application, we'll have a map. See, that was easy. The first thing we want to do is show the user's location, and we can do that easily by going back to the inspector and check show user's location. And when we go back and run it, the system will find the user's location and show it on the screen using the animated blue dot. The next thing we want to do is zoom in on a particular area on the map. The area on the map is specified by an MK coordinate region, which is made up of a center and a latitude and longitude span. The center is a CL location coordinate, 2D, and the spans are specified in degrees. One thing to keep in mind is that the region you request may not end up being the region that is shown due to the discrete zoom levels available for the map, the curvature of the Earth, and differences in aspect ratios between the view and the region you specified. That's an interesting thing to keep in mind later when you are trying to store and compare regions. To set the region, we create an MK coordinate region, set the values for the center and the spans, and set call region on the map. I'll cut and paste that code into my viewDidLoad method for the demo. You'll also need to import the MapKit header, and you need a reference to the map, so make it an IB outlet and hook it up in Interface Builder. And when I run it, I get a map that is centered around Denver, which is where I first gave this talk. The next thing we want to do is add some demo data. And for the purposes of this example, I'm going to load the data from a plist. In a non-demo app, you would want to consider loading the data from Core Data or the web. Our data is an array of dictionaries of brewery information with name, address, latitude, and longitude fields. I'm going to load that data into an array called breweries in my viewDidLoad method. It loads from the main bundle, and then I process it a little bit to get the minimum and maximum latitude and longitude. And then I use the average of this to calculate the center and the difference to calculate the spans. You might want to make your spans a little larger so that all your points fall clearly in the map and not just along the edge. And when we run this, we see that the map is centered closer on downtown Denver, where the breweries are located in my data. We still don't have markers for the breweries though, so next we're going to add some annotations to the map. The annotations are like a model for the map. We'll create a class that implements the MK Annotation Protocol and add an instance to the map for each of the breweries in our plist. We can see that MK Annotation Protocol requires a coordinate and has an optional title and subtitle that will be used in the callout when the annotation view is tapped. So I'm going to create my own class that conforms to that protocol called myAnnotation, and I can initialize it with the dictionary I get from the plist. And the key is to add the annotation to the map. When we run it, we'll see that the system will create a standard red pin for each of our annotations by default. Our next step then is to customize the annotation view. What we do is set the view controller as the MapView delegate and implement the MapView view for annotation method. Notice that this method is a little like the table view self or row at index pass method in the UI table view, in that it tries to dequeue a reusable view and only creates a new one if there isn't one available. This helps performance by only creating and managing views that we can actually see based on the user's panning and zooming. Our first step to customization is to make the pins a different color. Now we want to customize the view so that we're showing something besides the pin and also customize the callout. We do that by creating an MK annotation view instead of a pin annotation view. The annotation view lets you set the view we see on the map as well as to customize the callout with views to the left and to the right of the title and subtitle. In this example, we put an image on the left view and a button in the right view. Now we have beer mugs instead of pins, and when we tap them, our callout has a pretzel to the left. Obviously, instead of a pretzel, we might want to have a logo in a real application. The last thing I want to point out is that we have a button to the right-hand side. Normally when we tap that, we would want a detail page to slide in or something similar. But in this demo, I'm just going to print out a message and leave it to you to implement that. You do that by implementing the method called MapView Annotation View Callout Accessory Control Tapped. You can see that when the blue chevron is tapped, we get the message on the console. You can add your own logic here to do whatever it is you need to do. I hope you have enjoyed this and that this has been helpful, and please let me know if you have any comments or questions. Thanks a lot.